Good evening, everyone. It's Andy again here. We're just kind of down here piddling around today. It's kind of cold, been kind of rainy. It's kind of numb out here. Really, it's not a comfortable day to be outside. But we just throwed some feed into the goats over here. I don't think they're too interested in eating right now. But I wanted to mention a couple things today in this video here. You see, I've got see a little bit of white on this cow up here. Now, you see it on there? That's some dust that I put on him. I'll show you what I used. And what you need to do if you've got cows in an area where there's a lot of like straw bedding or hay bedding, you know, goats and stuff, it doesn't really bother. But a cow will get mites and lice and stuff. I use this right here. You can pick this up at a lot of farm supply stores, any kind of like a Tractor Supply or any old farm supply store. And I mean, it doesn't have to be this brand, but it's for flies and lice, and it can be used on pigs or cattle. When we get our pigs, we've always got a little bit of like hay bedding in there for them too, and you really want to keep it on there because they will pick it up from the straw or the hay or whatever you've got in there. And you can see in here, it's pretty much all it is. It's hay bedding the floor of this little barn here. So that's something to keep in mind if you've got the animals. Like I said, I've never really had a problem with my goats. They don't seem to bother, but you can tell your cow needs it. This one started getting like lick marks all over his fur. You could tell where he'd been licking and trying to scratch himself. And so I figured he needed dusting, and after I dusted him, he's really cleaned up some, but I wanted to do it one more time here to hopefully clean him up a little better. But one thing that I was thinking about when I built this fence here, and most of you guys know this is all new, and I've just pastured in this upper part up here, and I want to mention that goats are destructive little devils. And I like my goats, don't get me wrong, but I forgot how friggin' destructive they can be. It's been a while since they've been in an area where they had some trees that they could really destroy. But look at what they've done here. Now this tree, it don't matter anyways because we cut it down. But look at how they've eat off that bark. And they just sit out here and eat and eat and eat. And they eat the bark. Now I've heard some people say that they're lacking minerals and stuff if they do that or whatnot. And other people say, well, that's just what goats do. They like the taste of the bark. But I did have this one tree right here that I wanted to keep. But guess what? I was going to do it. I was going to put something around the base of this tree. I didn't think that they'd get to it that fast. Ha! I was wrong. Look at this. They've done eat all the bark out from around the base of this tree. So my guess is this tree's probably going to have to go. That's actually what had happened to this maple here and that maple right out there in the first place. Many years ago, I had all of this pastured in for goats before it was actually kind of growed up down here, and that was the main reason I got goats, was to clean this property up. But long story short, many years ago, all of this was fenced in, and these two trees here, they plumb eat the bark off of, and I thought they'd heal up, but they didn't. So I was scared. I mean, that's probably been 7 or 8 years ago, and they never quite healed up, and I was scared they were going to end up falling on my barn, so we cut them. But that's just something I wanted to mention. If you decide to fence in a place with goats, I've noticed that they do it with tender trees. Like these maples have a thinner bark, and I mean, they'll flat strip a maple. But now out here, this was fenced in, and these are all oak trees, but they got a thicker bark on them, and they hadn't really messed with those much. Actually, they hadn't messed with those at all back when that was fenced. But now this one was an oak, however it's a young oak, and so the bark's still real thin on it, and they just nibbled it right off. And whether you know it or not, when you cut the outside layer of the bark off of a tree, you kill it. Well, that's basically what the goats are doing. They're killing my trees. So keep that in mind next time you decide you want to fence in a patch of land for goats. If you've got trees in it, make sure you put something around it, a wire cage around the base or something, because them goats are going to kill your trees. It's just a matter of time. But I just wanted to throw that out there for some of you guys. If you've never owned goats before and you don't really know much about them, just make sure you do that, because you'll come home from work one day and all your trees will be stripped, kind of like I did. And I knew it. I knew that they would do it. I didn't think that it was going to happen that fast. These goats have only been back in here for maybe a week or so, and they've done destroyed that oak tree over there. So anyways, just wanted to throw that out there, give you a little quick tip for today. And if you would, please consider subscribing to the channel, because we'll be throwing livestock tips and farming tips and anything like that out there. We'll be throwing that out all the time. There's always something coming around, and you never know quite what you're going to see. So as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.